Dude, stop eating that. It's for the video.
Oops. Alright, we'll bring this back later. Hey there. Hope you all are having a spectacular day. Because I need you to be. Our question for today is a bit tricky, but it is an interesting one. So, how do we be good even when we can't? You want to do the right thing, but you still end up doing the wrong thing. You want to be a good person, but you make the choice that is bad. Why is this only happening to us? Why didn't it happen to the saints or the disciples or the apostles? Actually, it did. One of the greatest saints and evangelists of all time faced it too. As we see in Romans 7:14 to 23, Paul says, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am of the flesh, sold into slavery under sin. I do not understand my own actions. For I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Now, if I do what I do not want, I agree that the law is good. But in fact, it is no longer I that do it, but sin that dwells within me. For I know that nothing good dwells within me, that is, in my flesh. I can will what is right, but I cannot do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. Now if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I that do it, but sin that dwells within me. So I find it to be a law that when I want to do what is good, evil lies close at hand. For I delight in the law of God in my inmost self, but I see in my members another law at war with the law of my mind, making me captive to the law of sin that dwells in my members." I know. It all sounds very confusing. I do what I don't, and I don't what I done, and I done what I didn't. What? No, but really, there is a lot of depth in it. Paul may sound crazy here, but he knew exactly what he was talking about, and it's something many of us face. In the simplest way, what he's trying to say is that as long as we live on this earth, we are tied to the flesh being the worldly desires and sin. And he is saying that no matter how hard he tries to do good and be good, it does not happen. He says, I can will what is right, but I cannot do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. Whoa, does this mean we are completely incapable of doing good? That is what Paul is saying. We, by ourselves, are incapable. But as we see what he says in Galatians 5:17, for what the flesh desires is opposed to the spirit, and what the spirit desires is opposed to the flesh. For these are opposed to each other to prevent you from doing what you want. Right. So this brings us to spiritual warfare. There is a constant battle that is going on within you, between the flesh and the spirit. Jesus had spiritual warfare of his own. Matthew 4, Jesus in the desert, when he was tempted by the devil. But we need to remember one thing. We live in times that are post the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, meaning the war against sin is already won. So when you fight your battles, you know the outcome. We win because we belong to Jesus. But hey, just because we already know the outcome of the war does not mean we don't have to fight. Does not mean we don't have to go through with it. Does not mean that we don't go through the struggles in it. But we know the end result, victory. So if we need to get to the outcome, we need to face everything in between. You see, this is the thing. The enemy knows that he is going to lose because over 2000 years ago, Jesus already won. So all he can do is lie to you to make you quit because he knows that your victory is at the end. So the only thing that he can do is make sure that you do not get there. If life was a series of many races and each battle was a race, he will do his best to stop you from reaching the finish line every time. So, if we want to be good, but the flesh stops us from reaching the finish line of being good, then what do? Paul said that we cannot beat the flesh. The flesh always wins. Seems like a hopeless situation, isn't it? Not quite. He also said, for what the flesh desires is opposed to the spirit, and what the spirit desires is opposed to the flesh. For these are opposed to each other, to prevent you from doing what you want. So what we understand is that these two battle it out. And as we wait to see who will win, and thus determine our actions, we are just bystanders in the fight. right? Wrong. The flesh and the spirit fight, that is correct. But who will win is entirely up to us. So, how do we pick who wins? Time for those peanuts. For example, you see this? This is the flesh. And this is the spirit. It's just like science says, if you need something to do something, it needs the energy to do it. So, if these two need to battle it out, they both are going to need the energy to do it. And let's say they get the energy from these peanuts. Now the problem is, the world that we live in automatically fuels the flesh with energy. The not so nice people that we spend time with. The rubbish that you watch on TV, the shows, the movies, you know what I'm talking about. Our social media feed that's just not right. The lustful relationships that we have. Or maybe just looking at people the wrong way. The jealousy, the pride, the anger, the unforgiveness, the hate in our hearts. Gosh, this actually fills itself up. Now it's time for these two to battle it out. Time for us to be good and do good. And the fight breaks out. Our source of energy comes from, well, the flesh. And this is why the flesh wins. Because I don't have any energy here. Now you're like, okay, I had enough of this flesh winning all the time. Time to let the spirit win. So what do? Say a personal prayer for 5 minutes. Then listen to a few worship songs. Oh, okay. 2 songs are enough. That's a lot for today. Maybe open the Bible for 2 minutes. Okay, I'm bored now. Done for the day. And as you go about your day, this one fills up too. With all the stuff that we spoke about earlier. Alright, now the battle breaks out. Between the spirit and the flesh. Who do you think wins? The spirit or the flesh? I'm hungry. Oh, I'm still hungry. Whoa, yeah, that was good. Who do you think gave me more energy? So which side do you think won? Kind of obvious, eh? So what do? How do we make the spirit win? And that brings us to our, not P's for today, but 3 F's for today. Fast, fill, fight. The first one is fast. You see, this one tends to fill up just living in this world. We need to take the time to get rid of all the things that is in this. And fasting starves your flesh off of this. As you fast, you slowly empty out all the energy in here. Which is amazing because now you reduce the chances of it winning. But hey, if both of these are empty, then where will you get your energy from? You need to get it from somewhere, right? And that is our second point. Fill. When you fast, you empty out this. Yet simultaneously, you need to fill this. So that when we need energy, we have the right kind of energy. And how do we fill it? With prayer. That's why they say fasting and prayer. You fast to empty and you pray to fill. So this is awesome. We reached the desired state. Now we are ready to fight our battles, which is the third point, fight. So now that our spirit energy is more than our flesh energy, we can fight with the access to power we've been given, like Jesus did in Matthew 4. When Jesus fought the devil in the desert, he fought with the word of God. As we know, we can't win, but God can, and he wins through us. What does John 1:1 say? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. When we use the Word, we let God fight our battles. And hey, we ain't gonna lose those. Additionally, if you don't want to do much fasting, then stay away from the things that fill this and spend more time filling this. So, fast to empty your flesh, fill up your spirit, fight with God on your side, and be blessed with victory. Peace. Man, this is not what we show people.